transmigrated into Dalu in Holy
Just the
Soul
most
Village.
inconspicuous commoner orphan.
I have no system,
No old master in a ring.
no innate full spirit power. And I started off with the classic both parents deceased trope. Others transmigrate starting as god kings, or with cheats galore, but me. I can only treat this fantasy continent as the most grueling trial of ascension. Yet I feel not a hint of panic, for I know all too well that the Dalu continent is a place where the strong prey on the weak. Yet it is also a realm where one can truly attain divinity and
As long as I
life.
can awaken my soul power,
I shall have the right to step into the world of soul masters. Even if it is but a blue silver grass, I will forge it into a god-level martial soul. The sky has yet to brighten, but I have already finished my final lap around Holy Soul Village, bending over and stretching my
Sweat
legs.
drips
Down from my chin. My name is Lin Juan. I have been transmigrated into the Dalu continent for 3 years now. Years. I have harbored no grand ambitions. I do not wish to conquer the world, nor do I wish to lock horns with the Spirit Hall. And even less do I want to cross paths with Tang San right from the start. Wealth, and power. These things will naturally come once I ascend to godhood. To risk my life to snatch them now would be sheer madness. My goal is simple. Awaken my spirit power, become a spirit master, and secure this eternal tenure on the Dalu continent. But reality is harsh, and I've been transmigrated here for 3 years. Aside from being an orphan, I have absolutely no system pop-ups, no old master living in a ring, no special constitution, and not even a shadow of innate full spirit power. I am just an ordinary child in Holy Soul Village. Fortunately, my mindset is decent. Since I have no cheats, I shall rely on my own sweat and toil. I vaguely recall that a strong physique might aid in the awakening of spirit power. Even if the chance is only 1 in 10,000, I refuse to let it slip away. And so, I became one of the 2 oddities of Holy Spirit Village. The other one, naturally, is Tang San. Tang San works from dawn till dusk, day in and day out, all mysterious, always sneaking off to the deserted hillsides. There's a maturity in his eyes that belies his years. He doesn't look like a normal child at all. As for me, I follow a completely different path. Before the roosters even crow each morning, I'm already out jogging around the village. During the day, if I'm not doing push-ups, I'm in the yard practicing all sorts of strange movements. The village kids laugh at me for wasting my time, but I can't be bothered to explain. In truth, I also yearn to master some profound martial arts. Yet in my past life, I was merely a good-for-nothing college student who feared hardship and toil. When the martial arts club held its recruitment drive, the moment I heard about horse stance training and splits, or the thought of aching muscles, I bolted faster than a rabbit on the spot. In this life, though I possess the burning desire to grow stronger, I lack any foundation in martial arts. The only thing I can truly show for myself is the compulsory radio calisthenics I was forced to learn back then. Alas, I could only break down the radio calisthenics into individual movements, combined with running, push-ups, and stretching. I forced my pair of short, stubby legs to move with lightning speed. 3 years later, my physical fitness far surpassed that of my peers. When people grew curious, I would bring up Su Yun Tao. Back when the Spirit Hall Deacon Su Yun Tao came to the village for inspection, I deliberately acted like an ignorant child, pestering him for a few words under my guidance. He once casually remarked that a strong physique is the foundation of cultivation, with the official endorsement from a Spirit Hall Deacon. The villagers believed it immediately. Many parents even forced their children to train with me. Yet sadly, none could last for 3 days. After all, running laps before dawn, doing push-ups under the scorching sun, and stretching in the bitter cold of winter was too much. Even a grown man couldn't withstand this thing, let alone a playful child. Yet, for the sake of that casual affirmation from Su Yun Tao, and to carve out a path for myself as a spirit master, I stubbornly persisted for 3 years. Through wind and rain, I never stopped. Through the changing of seasons, I never faltered. Quite satisfied with this, keeping a low profile, avoiding trouble, slowly accumulating my strength. This is the only way for a commoner to truly thrive. As for Tang San, I see him clearly for who he is. That guy is practically cheating with his innate advantages. And he has Tang Hao, a title Dalu, watching over him from the shadows. He is simply not someone I can afford to provoke right now. I even suspect that Tang Hao has long since noticed Tang San's peculiarities. Just how terrifying is the perception of a title Dalu? Tang San's composure, which far exceeds that of any ordinary person. Mastering culinary arts while secretly practicing the Tang sect's peerless techniques. Could that really deceive Tang Hao? I fear Tang Hao has simply been hesitant for his own reasons all along, and has merely chosen not to expose it for now. That is why I keep my distance from Tang San, refusing to cling to his coattails, avoiding any connection to the Zhuanshan Palace, and certainly not seeking to draw attention to myself. Do you really think Tang Hao is just a mere ornament? Besides, Tang San has the Zhuanshan treasure. He guards those records like his own life. There's no way he'd leak them so easily. We are all transmigrators after all. I have my own pride as well. There's no need to grovel before anyone. I had just steadied my breathing, preparing to stretch my ligaments, when suddenly, on the small hill nearby, a slender figure darted down. That person moved with the agility of a monkey. With light, brisk footsteps, he brushed past me, without even a glance in my direction, running straight toward the village. It was none other than Tang San, still as cold as ever. I shrugged my shoulders and continued my stretches. Tang San looks down on the village locals, and I have no interest in fawning over someone who couldn't care less. I didn't notice. Tang San, who had run some distance away, glanced back at me. His gaze fell upon my flashy and eccentric stretching routine. A flicker of disdain crossed his eyes. At first, he truly suspected that I was a transmigrator as well. After all, I had suddenly transformed into someone extremely self-disciplined, with training movements so bizarre that they didn't seem to belong to this world. But after observing me in secret for a few days, he was completely reassured. In Tang San's eyes, I am nothing but a clueless local bumpkin. My running form is atrocious, and my training methods are all over the place, mostly just a waste of effort. Any random technique from the Tang sect's outer sect would be infinitely superior to what I practice, as the two so-called weird kids of the village. Tang San looks down on me from the bottom of his heart. What kind of thing is even worthy of being mentioned alongside him? Seeing the smoke rising from the village chimneys, Tang San's expression shifted slightly, and he quickened his pace, vanishing into the alleyway in the blink of an eye. I didn't pay him any mind. Once you become a spirit master, battles will be inevitable. Aside from physical strength, flexibility is also of vital importance. It allows me to be more agile in battle and sustain fewer injuries. Besides, I have nothing else to practice, so I must push my fundamentals to the absolute limit. Stretching finished, I didn't head straight home. Instead, I went up the mountain to carry back the firewood I chopped a few days ago. The morning sun bathed my body, casting a long shadow behind me. As an orphan, I didn't rely on the village's collective support. Old Jack, the village head, is a kind soul. He helped me entrust the dozen or so acres behind by my parents to the villagers to tend. I turned myself into a little landlord, collecting a portion of the grain as rent each year. I would take the surplus grain to town to sell, which earned me some pocket money. Over these 3 years, it's not a large sum of money, but it's enough for me to get by, and enough to buy some supplements for my health. Whenever I encounter villagers up early along the way, I always pause my steps and greet them obediently, sweet-tongued, diligent, and sensible. This is the best protective camouflage for a commoner orphan, in my view. If one wants to climb from the commoners into the circle of spirit masters, it's not just about raw strength. Connections are equally vital. Avoid making enemies whenever you can. As I pushed open the gate to my courtyard, the place instantly came to life. A plump pig grunted and nudged its trough, while a dozen chickens swarmed around, clucking away, as if welcoming me home. These are all my treasures. The pigs and chickens provide me with essential protein. Raising them up means I can sell them for money later. It's to build up my physical strength and to accumulate some capital. I've done everything I could possibly think of. At first, cooking for myself alone and tending to the poultry was truly a mess. But I never complained. As long as I can hold on until the spirit awakening, everything will be worth it. Old Jack has already notified me. In 2 days, it will be the day of the spirit awakening ceremony. Once that day arrives, my current way of life will likely come to an end. If I fail to awaken any spirit power, then I might as well find a way to transmigrate again. What's the point of transmigrating into a fantasy world if I'm not even given the chance to cultivate? I'd rather not have come at all. I skillfully poured the pig feed into the trough, watching the fat pigs devour it greedily. I couldn't help but swallow hard. Once the spirit awakening is over, before I head to the Spirit Master Academy, I can just sell this pig. It should cover my tuition and travel expenses. After feeding the pig, I went to the cube to collect eggs. I'm quite lucky today. 5 eggs. Just enough to sustain me for the day. I lit the fire, washed the rice, and started the porridge. My movements are far too practiced for a 6-year-old child. Smoke curls lazily from the chimney. The courtyard is filled with the warmth of a humble home. I sit by the hearth, watching the dancing flames, my heart brimming with anticipation. 2 more days. Just 2 more days to wait, and I shall awaken my martial soul. If only I possess innate soul power. My journey into the world of spirit masters has officially begun. The path to immortality in the Daluo continent is a prize I am determined to claim. I clench my small fist tightly, my eyes gleaming with resolve. In my past life, I achieved nothing, but in this life, I shall ascend to godhood and attain eternal life, with proper nourishment as my foundation, and the ambition to become a god as my fuel. I have truly become the legend of Holy Soul Village, the perfect child that parents always compare you to. Though life hasn't been easy, I've managed to keep everything in perfect order. At the very least, I'm not drowning in debt. In the eyes of the villagers, for an orphan to be able to support themselves and even save some money is already quite extraordinary. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, I didn't do as I usually did. I still headed out for my morning training before dawn, but this time, I made sure to tidy myself up properly. I put on my most decent set of clothes. Then, I treated myself to a luxurious breakfast. 2 eggs paired with a bowl of multigrain porridge, along with a small side of cured meat. After eating, I pulled up a small stool and sat by the doorway, my eyes fixed intently on the entrance of the village. Today is the big day for the spirit awakening ceremony. It's even more nerve-wracking than waiting for my college entrance exam results. If it weren't for old Jack's explicit instruction to wait at home, I would have been crouching at the door of the awakening hall the moment the sun rose. Finally, just as I was waiting with bated breath, old Jack came strolling along, leaning on his cane. "Grandpa Village Chief, you finally arrived." I sprang up with a leap and trotted over to greet him, unable to conceal the excitement in my voice. Old Jack looked at me, seeing how I was. The wrinkles at the corners of his eyes bunched up as he smiled. "You little rascal, you're anxious, aren't you?" I scratched my head. Stubbornly, I replied, "Not that anxious." "That's good. No need to rush." Jack waved his hand dismissively. According to the traditions of years past, the spirit master must visit other villages first. It won't be our holy spirit village's turn until around noon. Going there early would just be a waste of time waiting. He came specifically to pick me up. He was just afraid I'd foolishly run off and wear myself out waiting there. He understands my hardships. Being an orphan managing the family estate is far more exhausting than it is for other children my age. I stuck out my tongue. It was mostly because I was too excited. Old Jack's smile grew even kinder. "Silly child, what child wouldn't be excited at a time like this? Let's go. We should head off to pick up Tang San first. It's about time." I hurriedly reached out to steady old Jack's arm. Upon hearing the name Tang San, my brows arched ever so slightly, though I quickly composed myself. The other children in the village were all accompanied by their parents for the spirit awakening, but Tang San and I were unique cases. I am an orphan, and while Tang San has Tang Hao, but Tang Hao is a drunkard all day long. Whether he's reliable or not is entirely up to looking fate. After the two of us is considered normal. We slowly walked up to a dilapidated blacksmith shop at the edge of the village. If we're talking about the most popular figures in Holy Soul Village, Tang San and I definitely occupy the top 2 spots. It's just that our lives are worlds apart. Although I am an orphan, I managed to live as a little landlord thanks to the fields my parents left behind. Plus, with a silver tongue and diligent hands, his life is actually more comfortable than that of many children with parents. Things are much grimmer for Tang San. Even though Tang Hao can forge iron to earn money, he has let their home fall into such disarray. The smithy is in complete chaos. The yard is piled high with scrap metal, and even the door is so dilapidated it looks ready to fall apart. Jack gazes at this scene. He couldn't help but shake his head. In the past, he might have only muttered about Tang Hao, but having seen how I tidied up the house, once everything was cleaned up, the contrast became even more striking. Tang Hao isn't very diligent with his blacksmithing, so Little Sin should lend a hand. At the very least, he should tidy up the house. Jack stood at the doorway, raising his voice. "Is Little Sin home?" Hasty movements were heard from inside the house immediately. Through the crack in the door, I caught a glimpse of Tang San first, looking back at the drunken Tang Hao in the corner. With eyes full of earnest entreaty, Tang Hao waved his hand impatiently. "Go on then." My heart stirred. Tang Hao's harsh tempering of Tang San might not have been born solely of despair. Could a titled Daluo truly fail to notice Tang San's anomalies? His composure far beyond his years, his practiced culinary skills,
and
the purple demon-eye-ed ghost shadow perplexing track he secretly cultivated. As long as Tang San continued to train, it would be hard to keep anything from Tang Hao. Perhaps Tang Hao had long suspected that the soul within this body was not his original son. Yet, that face bore such a striking resemblance to his own that he could not bring himself to be cruel. He could only numb his pain with wine, masking his inner turmoil with cold indifference. And so, it shaped what seemed to be a miserable childhood for Tang San. I, too, was in a sorry state when I first transmigrated. Unable to even kindle a fire. Either go to the neighbors to borrow a flame, or be careful to keep the embers alive. I'd end up covered in soot while cooking, and even messed up feeding the pigs and chickens. It was only through trial and error over time that I finally mastered these chores. Fortunately, I had 3 years to transition, letting the villagers gradually grow accustomed to my changes. Even Tang Hao didn't suspect a thing. Tang San pushed the door open and ran out. Old Jack and me. He completely ignored me, only nodding obediently toward Old Jack. Old Jack looked at his thin clothing, opened his mouth to speak, but ultimately held back. Tang San was more sensible than many children in the village, yet compared to me, he always lacked a touch of worldly warmth. Tang San and I exchanged a glance. Neither of us paid any mind to the other. I have my own pride. I have no desire to debase myself by fawning over someone who down on the local children from the bottom of his heart. And he couldn't be bothered to interact with me either. Old Jack looked at the two of us. He let out a soft sigh and said, "Let's go." I have to admit, Old Jack has been the village head for over 20 years. His sense of timing is impeccable. We had just arrived at the entrance of the Awakening Chamber when we saw Su Yuntao leap a few times, appearing before us with an agile grace. There were 9 children from Holy Soul Village participating in the Awakening this time, plus Tang San and me. The line was formed in perfect order. After a brief exchange between Su Yuntao and Old Jack, he pushed open the doors of the Awakening Hall and waved at the children. "Come on in, all of you." Before the doors closed, Old Jack still clung to the gap, offering his final instructions. "Children, you must follow Master Su Yuntao's arrangements. No mischief allowed." I turned back and waved my hand. "Grandpa Village Chief, I'll remember it." My anticipation had already reached its peak. Su Yuntao quickly set up the awakening ceremony. He turned to us and said, "All right, who will go first?" The 6 awakening stones have been laid out. A pale golden halo ripples across the surface of the stones. The atmosphere in the realm suddenly grows tense. The other 7 children nudge and jostle each other, their eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and fear. They instinctively avert their gazes from Tang San in the corner. Tang San is frail and thin, with a sallow complexion and a solitary nature. So naturally, he has been pushed to the back. My treatment was completely different. The efforts I put in for 3 years to prepare for the Spirit Awakening were witnessed by everyone in Holy Spirit Village, running laps before dawn, doing push-ups under the scorching sun, and never slacking off even in the dead of winter. Parents in the village often use me as an example to lecture their own children. Look at how hard Lin Juan works. If he awakens his spirit power, he truly deserves it. And so, at this very moment, I was practically pushed to the forefront by the weight of everyone's expectations. I went first without a moment's hesitation. I strode to the center of the awakening stone. 3 years of anticipation and obsession burned deep within my eyes. Even Su Yuntao was momentarily stunned. He had awakened countless children before, but this was his first time seeing such a fanatical gaze. I had my own little scheme in mind, dating back to when I was 3 years old. The innocence of a child, I pestered Su Yuntao to talk about martial souls and spirit power. He offered a few offhand pointers back then, but having encountered so many people since, he had long forgotten a little brat like me, let alone how many villagers I've fooled with the casual words he once spoke. Su Yuntao grew uneasy under my steady gaze, cleared his throat, and said, "Stand still and I am about to manifest my martial soul. There may be slight tremors and discomfort during the process. Do not be afraid." As his voice faded, he immediately activated his martial soul avatar. His physique expanded abruptly, and gray-brown fur covered his skin. His facial features sharpened, and his eyes gleamed with an eerie light as behind him a phantom of a bipedal wolf slowly emerged. His fangs were bared, an overbearing aura. What was even more striking was the 2 spirit rings rising beneath his feet, one white and one yellow, rotating slowly. The pressure of a spirit master instantly spread out, even though Su Yuntao had deliberately suppressed it. The moment his martial soul possessed him, A fierce gust of wind was unleashed, accompanied by a low false howl, causing dust to shower down from the hall's ceiling. The other 7 children turned pale with fright. 2 of the timid ones burst into tears on the spot. Even Tang San, who had been feigning composure, felt his pupils constrict. He quietly took half a step back. A flicker of vigilance flashed in the depths of his eyes. I alone felt not a shred of fear. I stared fixedly at Si Yun Tao, at his spirit rings and the Lupin phantom looming over him. My breathing grew ragged. This is the true power of a spirit master. This is the key to the fabric of eternal life. 3 years of toil, countless days and nights. Isn't this exactly what I've been striving for? I can even feel something stirring deep within me, as if responding to this overwhelming pressure. My blood is boiling. Adrenaline is surging through my veins. Si Yun Tao has noticed my reaction. Instead, he chuckled. I have seen many children eager for their awakening, but one who is so fearless and with eyes full of such yearning. This is truly his first time encountering. Little one, you are quite remarkable. If you can awaken your spirit power, you will surely become a powerful spirit master in the future. I looked up, my tone firm and resolute. I feel the same way. This confidence didn't just appear out of thin air. It is the conviction forged by 3 years of sweat and toil. If I still couldn't awaken my spirit power after working this hard, it would only prove that I wasn't meant for this Daluo continent. I'd turn around and try my luck in another world. To transmigrate into a fantasy world and be unable to cultivate, I'd be better off just starting over. Si Yun Tao put away his smile and channeled his spirit power into the awakening stone. The 6 awakening stones erupted with golden light simultaneously. Countless tiny specks of light surged forth from the cracks in the stones. They enveloped my body like a sky full of stars. I watched the specks of light around me with curiosity, yet my brows slowly furrowed. In the original story, the higher the quality of the martial soul, the denser the awakening light particles. When Tang San awakened his blue-silver grass, the golden light nearly submerged his entire being. Yet, although the light particles around me are quite numerous, but it only thinly lingered around the surface of his body, like a veil of sheer gold. This manifestation is clearly far from a top-tier martial soul. Could it be that the quality of my martial soul is quite ordinary? My heart sank a little, but I quickly suppressed the feeling. No matter what the martial soul, as long as there is soul power, unlike my disappointment. Si Yun Tao's eyes were already brimming with surprise. As a level 26 Great Spirit Master, he possesses a keen sense for spirit power. The moment the golden light ignited, he sensed a resonance of spirit power within me. And the fluctuation was not insignificant, at least level to spirit power. In an ordinary village, children who can awaken spirit power are already as rare as phoenix feathers. Even level 1 spirit power is considered a genius, so level 2 is quite remarkable. Si Yun Tao's voice was laced with irrepressible excitement. He extended his right hand. I followed suit, feeling a warm energy surging through my limbs and bones, eventually gathering in the palm of my hand. Subconsciously, I calmed my mind, while quietly sensing the state of my entire body. I dared not hope for a top-tier martial soul, but if it were a twin martial soul or a body martial soul, that would be an absolute windfall. A twin martial soul goes without saying. Even if a body martial soul starts off weak, it can undergo a secondary awakening later on, enhancing its quality. Since I have already arrived in this world, what is there for me to fear in risking my life? No matter how I try to perceive it, there is only one stream of warmth within my body, steadily condensed in the palm of my right hand, showing no signs of dispersing at all. The next second, a soft blue light burst forth from my palm. A tender sprout slowly pushes through the soil, growing rapidly, unfurling its leaves, finally transforming into a delicate and exquisite blue-silver grass. This blue-silver grass is different from those commonly found in the wild. Its leaves are thick and plump, with faint silver edges along the rims, slender yet upright, glistening with a crystalline luster under the blue light, and emitting a faint, fresh scent of vegetation. It's quite exotic as an ornamental plant. But the moment I saw the martial soul clearly, my mouth still twitched blue-silver grass. As expected, the standard trash martial soul start for the Daluo continent. Fortunately, I was mentally prepared for this. 3 years since I transmigrated, I had envisioned countless possibilities and even mapped out several paths for the blue-silver grass. From ordinary blue-silver grass to the blue-silver emperor, from a control system to a power attack system, every step has a contingency plan. The path of growth for a trash martial soul is destined to be even more arduous. But as long as I possess a martial soul, and as long as I have spirit power, I have the confidence to keep moving forward step by step. This is the backbone of a transmigrator. The excitement on Su Yuntao's face faded a little. It was filled with regret. How could it be Blue Silver Gross? Blue Silver Gross has almost no combat capability, even with spirit power, and his future potential is quite limited. Yet, he remained diligent and dutiful. He took a fist-sized crystal ball from his robes and held it out before me. Child, calm your mind and focus. Withdraw your martial soul. Then place your palm on the crystal ball to test your spirit power. I nodded, concentrating my focus to establish a connection with the Blue Silver Gross. The blue light faded away, and the Blue Silver Gross dissolved into spakes of light, returning into my body. Only a faint scent of grass and trees lingered in my palm. I took a deep breath. The moment I pressed my right hand onto the crystal ball, the gray-white crystal ball suddenly erupted with a blue glow. The light climbed rapidly. 1 level, 2 levels, 3 levels. The blue halo stabilized at the 3rd level. Bright and pure, illuminating my face with startling clarity. Spirit power. Level 3. Su Yuntao instinctively raised his voice. The pity in his eyes instantly turned to astonishment. Level 3 spirit power for a Blue Silver Gross martial soul. This has far exceeded expectations. Many martial souls of decent quality only possess innate spirit power of level 1 or 2. Level 3 in the villages around Nuoding City is enough to be considered a genius. Su Yuntao gripped the crystal ball, his gaze scanning back and forth over me. His expression grew increasingly complex. This isn't just a matter of 1 or 2 levels. In a small border town, an innate soul power of level 3 is enough that, with diligent cultivation, there's a real chance of reaching the soul ancestor realm in the future, and perhaps even competing for the position of city lord. That is a genuine noble status, after all. Yet my martial soul is the Blue Silver Grass ... What a pity. It is truly such a great pity. Su Yuntao's pity was practically overflowing. Even a farming tool martial soul like a sickle or a hoe would have been better. But it just had to be Blue Silver Gross, a trash martial soul with 0 combat capability. Standing right there, I heard every single word clearly. I was rolling my eyes so hard inside. Good grief, Su Yuntao really is as constant as the North Star. Always ready with his trash martial soul verdict. With such a special certification from Su Yuntao himself. If I don't make a name for myself in the future, it would be a disservice to his trash martial soul comment today. Assessment. To think my level 3 Blue Silver Gross would make him sigh with such regret. Just wait until Tang San reveals his innate full spirit power Blue Silver Gross. Su Yuntao will likely be so stunned he won't be able to recover for a long while. Complaints aside, I put on a well-behaved facade and spoke up. Master Su Yuntao, was my spirit awakening a success? A success? Of course it was a success. Su Yuntao snapped back to reality. He quickly hid his look of pity, recalling the burning intensity in my eyes just moments ago. He feared dampening my spirits, so his tone softened considerably. Congratulations, child. You have already secured your ticket into the world of spirit masters. As long as you cultivate diligently from here on out, sooner or later, you'll become a spirit master like me. You might even surpass me one day. He truly meant those words. Although he felt the Blue Silver Gross had a low potential ceiling, the fact remained that he had 3 levels of innate spirit power. As long as he is willing to work hard, reaching the rank of spirit grandmother or spirit elder shouldn't be difficult. That's already far better than the vast majority of ordinary people. After a brief pause, he extended the customary invitation from the spirit hall. Since you have awakened your spirit power, your talent is quite impressive. Have you considered joining the spirit hall? We will provide you with cultivation resources, and you'll have professional instructors to guide you. That is far better than fumbling through it on your own. I have already made up my mind. Feigning curiosity, Master Su Yuntao, after joining the Spirit Hall, must one attend the Spirit Hall's academy to study. That's right, Su Yuntao explained with rare patience. For children like me with innate spirit power of level 3 or below, we first enter the Elementary Spirit Master Academy run by the Spirit Hall to receive a systematic education. Later, depending on our talent, we transfer to intermediate or advanced academies. If one's talent is somewhat lacking, they can still become a deacon of the Spirit Hall after graduation, responsible for tasks like spirit awakening ceremonies in various regions. It's considered a decent job. After hearing this, I immediately understood the situation. This model of the Spirit Hall Academy, it's practically a state-sanctioned iron rice bowl. Once you're in, you're essentially bound to the Spirit Hall. You can only follow their arrangements, not to mention transferring schools. I'm afraid even withdrawing wouldn't be easy. My martial soul is currently the blue silver grass. I must pursue a path of differentiation, perhaps even utilizing knowledge and that transcend this era. If I were to be shackled by a single faction, things will get complicated later on. I scratch my head, feigning a look of embarrassment. My apologies, Spirit Master Su Yun Tao. I have no desire to join any Spirit Master faction for the time being. I wish to remain a freelance Spirit Master for now and explore the path on my own. Su Yun Tao did not press the matter further. After all, the potential of blue-silver grass is limited, and his invitation was merely a formality. He took out a piece of yellowed parchment. Then he picked up a writing brush. Name and age. I cooperated and provided my information. Su Yun Tao quickly wrote down Lin Juan. 6 years old, martial soul, blue silver grass, innate spirit power, rank 3. Finally, he stamped it with the deacon's seal. The official martial soul awakening certificate was complete. He handed the paper to me. Take it, you'll need it when you register at the Spirit Master Academy later. Go outside and wait for now. Don't wander off. Wait until all the children have finished their awakening. I still have something to tell you. Thank you, Master Su Yun Tao. I took the certificate, carefully folded it, and tucked it into my shirt. Yet, I felt a tinge of regret in my heart. I really wanted to stay and watch Tang San's awakening. Will I reveal my clear sky hammer in my left hand? I didn't expect I'd have to leave first. It seems this is the rule for the awakening ceremony. It wouldn't be right for me to overstay my welcome. Before pushing the door to leave, I cast one last look back. Su Yun Tao was already calling the next child forward, his expression remaining professional and earnest. At that very instant, my gaze met with Tang San, who was at the end of the line. Tang San's eyes were deep and inscrutable, carrying a hint of probing intent. I cast but a fleeting, indifferent glance at him before withdrawing my gaze. The door creaked shut with a groan, severing the connection between the inside and the moment outside. I stepped out, I was completely hemmed in by the villagers waiting outside, like a student rushing out of the college entrance exam hall. I instantly became the center of attention. The villagers stood on their tiptoes, stretching their necks, crowding around and chattering all at once. How did it go, Zizhuan? Did you awaken your martial soul? Do you have any spirit power? Did Master Su Yun Tao give you the certificate? The elders were so enthusiastic that I didn't know who to answer first, just as I was at a loss for what to do. A majestic and thunderous roar echoed through the air. All of you! What is all this bickering about? As old Jack flared with anger, the noisy crowd instantly fell silent. The villagers instinctively parted to clear a path. Old Jack leaned on his cane and hurried toward me. His gaze fell immediately upon the Spirit Awakening certificate peeking out from my arms. He was all too familiar with this document. Though Holy Soul Village bears the word Holy Soul in its name, it hasn't produced a single Spirit Master prospect in years. Having served as village chief for over 20 years, his greatest wish is to see another Spirit Master emerge from the village, to truly live up to the name Holy Soul Village. Zizhuan, have you awakened your spirit power? Old Jack's voice trembled, his hands shaking uncontrollably, looking into his expectant eyes, and then at the curious and envious gazes of the surrounding villagers. I offered a faint smile. I saw no need to conceal the truth. A natural spirit power of rank 3 might be seen as a genius among commoners, but in the eyes of the top-tier factions, it is not worth mentioning. There was no point in hiding it. I took out the awakening certificate and handed it to Old Jack. Yes, I have awakened. My martial soul is blue silver grass, and my innate spirit power is rank 3. As my voice faded, the crowd erupted in an instant. The villagers knew nothing of martial soul quality, but they understood the word spirit power all too well. It was the golden ticket to becoming a spirit master, a threshold they could never hope to reach in their entire lives. The next second, a barrage of praises poured down as if they were free for the taking. I knew it. Little Juan has been such a sensible child since he was small. He's been working hard and training from dawn till dusk every single day. It's no surprise at all that he awakens spirit power. Indeed, isn't that so? What other child could show such self-discipline for 3 whole years? Had I known that training was truly this effective, I would have pushed my own Hughesy to train with him, no matter what it took. Some were filled with envy, while others were consumed by regret. Almost every villager was convinced that my ability to awaken my spirit was entirely due to those 3 years of persistent training. Those parents who had let their own children give up back then. I was regretting it so much that my guts were turning green. I was surrounded in the middle. While smiling and expressing my gratitude, I was secretly feeling relieved. It was fortunate that I had used the excuse of supplementary training to prepare them for my awakening beforehand. Now, everyone attributes my success to hard work. So they won't suspect my identity as a transmigrator, and they certainly won't dig deeper into my blue-silver gross. Every few moments, another child emerged from the awakening hall. Most of them looked dejected. Clearly, they hadn't awakened any soul power. With me as a successful example right before them, the children who failed to awaken felt even more miserable. The parents, mindful of the public setting, held back their outbursts, hastily pulling their children home. From afar, one could still hear the scolding and the weeping. Look at Lin Juan, for instance. He's only 6 years old, yet he already has level 3 soul power. You haven't even caught a glimpse of your soul power yet. I told you to keep up with your training long ago, but you chose to slack off. I'll deal with you when we get home. Playing in the mud all day long. Never doing anything productive. My scalp tingled just listening to that. I never expected to become the village's model of inspiration. I only hope those children won't hold a grudge against me later. Soon, only old Jack and I were left outside. Old Jack clutched my certificate tightly, unable to suppress the beaming smile on his face. Wonderful, simply wonderful. Our Holy Soul Village has finally produced another Spirit Master prospect, Zijuan. You truly are the pride of our village. I scratched my head, feeling a bit embarrassed. After all, my martial soul is only blue-silver gross. Although I believe it can be cultivated into something great, I certainly wouldn't call myself a top-tier genius just yet. Grandpa Village Chief, I only have rank 3 spirit power, and my martial soul is just a blue-silver gross. I'm not that talented. Old Jack immediately put on a stern face. To be able to awaken spirit power is already far superior to us ordinary folk. What's wrong with blue-silver gross? As long as you are willing to work hard, you can still become a powerful spirit master. A warmth spread through my heart compared to Su Yun Tao's pity. Old Jack's simple encouragement, ignorant of the spirit master system, felt far more sincere. After waiting a while longer, the doors of the awakening hall swung open. Su Yun Tao walked out with Tang San. His face was etched with unconcealable regret, looking as if he had just swallowed a mouthful of bitter herbs. 9 children. 3 blue-silver grosses, 1 with no spirit power, 1 with level 3 spirit power, and there's an even more absurd one, actually possessing innate full spirit power. Holy Soul Village might as well be renamed Blue-Silver Village. Top-tier talent paired with a trash martial soul. It's a complete waste of heaven's gift. My level 3 blue-silver gross. Su Yun Tao could barely accept that. Tang San's level 10 blue-silver gross nearly shattered Su Yun Tao's entire worldview. As soon as old Jack saw the certificates in their hands, the wrinkles on his face bloomed into a joyful smile. Master Su Yun Tao, you've come out. I never expected that our Holy Soul Village would produce children with spirit power. It is truly a blessing from our ancestors. He was already deep in thought, calculating his plans. Give the village's work-study student quota to me. I am a descendant of the original residents of Holy Soul Village. My roots are pure and my background as for Tang San, he can go to the neighboring village to borrow a quota. After all, Su Yun Tao just mentioned it earlier, that there are children in other villages who didn't awaken any soul power. It shouldn't be hard to arrange. Su Yun Tao let out a sigh, his tone heavy with complex emotions. You truly deserve to be congratulated, especially Tang San. Full innate spirit power, a talent seen once in a century. It is just a pity that both children have the blue-silver gross as their martial soul. What a waste for such a trash martial soul. The smile on old Jack's face froze. Even the spirit master expert considers it a trash martial soul. That certainly bodes ill. The excitement from just a moment ago was instantly doused with a bucket of cold water. The two exchanged a few more pleasantries. Old Jack warmly invited Su Yun Tao to stay for a meal. Su Yun Tao politely declined. He still had to rush to the next village. He soon turned and departed. Watching Su Yun Tao walk away, old Jack took a deep breath, suppressing his disappointment, and turned to look at Tang San and me. Zijuan, Zisan, don't take it too hard. Having blue-silver gross as a martial soul is not that bad. At the very least, you have awakened your spirit power. Being able to become a spirit master already makes you far superior to ordinary people. Grandpa promises, no matter what, I will send you to a spirit master academy to study. Tang San nodded, his gaze inadvertently sweeping over me, the depths of his eyes still carrying a hint of condescension. Both of us possess the blue-silver gross spirit. He was born with full innate soul power, while I only had level 3. This gap was enough for him to look down on me. And at this moment, I kept my head bowed, clutching my stomach tightly with both hands, looking utterly dejected and lost. Seeing this, Tang San felt even more triumphant, I suppose, in his eyes. I was just struck by his sheer talent, but he has no idea. I'm not sad. I'm just so hungry I can barely hold on.
A sudden wave of hunger engulfed me. My stomach felt as empty as if it had been hollowed out.
It feels worse than running 10 kilometers. I frowned slightly. I suppose awakening my martial soul consumed too much energy. After all, energy must be conserved. The manifestation of spirit power and martial spirits must be sustained by energy.
Fortunately, it's almost noon.
I shouldn't have to go hungry for too long.
Old Jack gently patted Tang San on the head.
Little San, you head home first. Go share the good news with your father. Grandpa has a few words to chat with Sichuan about. Tang San nodded obediently. He left shortly after. He most likely thinks old Jack wants to comfort me. Anxious to return and show Tang how my innate full spirit power. Once Tang San had walked away, old Jack took my hand. His tone gentle. Sichuan, Grandpa understands you're feeling down. Tang San has innate full spirit power, and your talent is indeed not quite his match. But do not lose heart. You are our village's own child. I've saved the work-study student quota in the village for you. As for your family's fields and livestock, Grandpa has already arranged for someone to look after them for you. You just need to set your mind at ease and prepare. In 3 months, go to Nuoding Academy and study hard. He paused for a moment, his eyes filled with growing tenderness. It doesn't matter if your talent is a bit lacking. If you ever find it hard to get by out there, just come back to the village. Grandpa will take care of you. I was momentarily stunned, only then realizing that old Jack had misunderstood. But I couldn't be bothered to explain. It was the perfect excuse to hurry home for dinner. Thank you, Grandpa Village Chief. Please don't worry, I'm fine. I forced an expression of being moved. Bowed slightly. And in the next second, I turned and bolted like a gust of wind. I have things to attend to at home. I'm heading back now. Those 3 years of morning runs weren't for nothing. My speed is astonishingly fast. In the blink of an eye, I vanished from old Jack's sight. Old Jack watched my retreating figure, letting out a soft sigh. Even though this child is clearly heartbroken, he still forces himself to stay strong. On his cane, he slowly made his way toward Tang San's home. I sprinted all the way home. I pushed the door open and rushed straight to the kitchen. Every morning, I prepare enough staple food for the entire day in advance. At this moment, a large bowl of cold steamed buns sat in the cupboard, each one the size of a fist, made with solid, hearty ingredients. I didn't care if they were cold or if I might choke on them. I grabbed one and shoved it into my mouth. Then, I washed it down with a bowl of cold water. After 7 large steamed buns went down my gullet, I finally felt a hint of fullness in my stomach. Yet, the gnawing hunger hadn't completely vanished. It had only been slightly eased. No way is my appetite really this monstrous. The corner of my mouth twitched, a mix of astonishment and excitement rising within me. Could it be that my awakened martial soul isn't just a blue silver gross? It's the touty martial soul. Perhaps this is my golden cheat. If I truly possess the touty constitution, I won't have to worry about a lack of energy for my cultivation in the future. That would be a massive windfall. But now is not the time for wishful thinking. I need to fill my stomach first. My gaze fell upon the dozen or so chickens in the yard. My eyes lit up with hunger, but I quickly shook my head. There are 3 months left until school starts. These chickens can lay eggs every day. They are a vital source of protein. If I slaughter them now, I'll have no supply left later. I can't just sit around and exhaust my reserves. No other choice. I had to roll up my sleeves, start kneading dough and steaming buns. Kneading, fermenting, and setting the steamer. My movements were as practiced as a little chef's. I really want to see just how massive my appetite has truly become. I'd better not end up unable to even feed myself, or that would be a real joke. Meanwhile, Tang San returned to the blacksmith shop. Tang Hao was still lying on the tattered bed in the corner, reeking of alcohol, fast asleep in a drunken stupor. Tang San walked to the bedside. His voice could barely conceal his excitement. Dad, I've awakened my martial soul. It's blue silver gross, and its innate full spirit power. He had expected Tang Hao to be at least a little surprised or gratified. But Tang Hao merely turned over and waved his hand impatiently. The smile on Tang San's face froze as he realized the truth. His heart was filled with disappointment. Father has always been so cold he had long been prepared for it. Yet, even after awakening with innate full spirit power, Father remained just as indifferent. He couldn't help but feel a pang after a moment of hesitation. Tang San gritted his teeth and raised his left hand. With a flash of black light, a small, exquisite hammer appeared in his palm. The hammerhead was pitch black, carrying a faint pressure. It was none other than his second martial soul, the clear sky hammer. He knew clearly that this hammer was his true trump card.
but as long as it could catch his father's attention, he was willing to reveal it. As expected, the moment the clear sky hammer appeared, Tang Hao suddenly opened his eyes. A sharp glint flashed through his murky eyes, staring fixedly at the hammer in Tang San's palm. The stench of alcohol seemed to dissipate in an instant. Tang Hao's voice trembled. Shock, astonishment, relief, and agony all surged within his eyes. Tang San let out a sigh of relief in his heart. He had won the gamble, breaking his usual demeanor. Tang Hao stepped forward and pulled Tang San into a tight embrace, clutching him with such force that it felt as if he were trying to crush him into his very bones. My good son, Tang Hao repeated over and over, his tone filled with the ecstatic relief of a lost treasure regained. The years of pent-up doubt, struggle, and agony, the moment he laid eyes on the clear sky hammer, had momentarily vanished into thin air, regardless of whose soul inhabited this body. As long as he could awaken the clear sky hammer, it meant he was the heir to the clear sky sect. He is the son of Tang Hao. Tang San was taken aback by this sudden embrace. Soon, he surrendered himself to the paternal love he had yearned for all these years. His eyes grew moist. Ever since he was a child, all he had known was indifference and the stench of alcohol. This moment of warmth, he had waited for far too long. Yet, at this very moment of fatherly affection and filial piety, the familiar voice of old Jack drifted in from outside the door. That annoying voice again. Tang Hao, are you home? Tang Hao's body stiffened. He let go of Tang San. The warmth on his face vanished in an instant. He returned to his usual cold indifference. Lowering his voice, he commanded, your martial soul. Do not let anyone see it. Tang San hurriedly retracted his clear sky hammer. In his heart, he felt a surge of resentment toward old Jack for interrupting this tender moment, even though old Jack had always looked after him. It could not outweigh the sense of loss he felt at that moment. Outside the door, old Jack's voice grew even louder. Tang Hao, are you drunk again? Open the door at once? Tang Hao rose impatiently. What are you making such a racket for? The dilapidated wooden door creaked and groaned, as if it might collapse at any moment. Old Jack, upon seeing Tang Hao, thumped his cane hard against the ground, brimming with righteous indignation. I'm telling you, Tang Hao, if you still acknowledge Little Sin as your son, then hurry up and prepare his things. I'll be back in 3 months to take him to Nuoding Academy. Don't you dare ruin the child's future. In the past, Tang Hao would have likely refused outright. But things are different now. Tang San has already revealed his heaven-defying talent with twin martial souls, destined to walk the path of a spirit master and inherit the glory of the clear sky sect. Thus, he merely waved his hand, his tone indifferent. Understood. You're everywhere, aren't you? Old Jack was taken aback. A triumphant smile then spread across his face. At least you've finally shown a shred of fatherly spirit. I shall return in 3 months to collect Little Sin. He leaned on his crutch and slowly made his departure, still harboring resentment in his heart. Tang San did not go out to see him off as he usually would. He merely hid inside the room, savoring the memory of that warm embrace. Meanwhile, in the courtyard of my home, the sky began to darken. Looking at the 10 remaining large steamed buns and the empty vegetable basin on the table, I was completely dumbfounded. To test my appetite after the awakening, I had specifically steamed 30 fist-sized solid buns and stir-fried a whole basin of greens. Once that ravenous hunger from noon returned, I began to feast with gusto, only to find I had devoured a full 20 of them. A large steamed bun and a whole basin of vegetables barely managed to satisfy my hunger. That is an incredible appetite. I rubbed my perfectly flat stomach with a look of utter disbelief. And that was just for one meal. At this rate, I'd need at least 60 steamed buns a day to stay full. In the Daluo continent, an ordinary steamed bun costs about 1 copper soul coin. Buying buns every single day, 60 copper soul coins a day. 1,800 copper soul coins a month. Even if I make it myself, cutting the cost in half, it would still cost 900 copper soul coins a month, plus the daily expenses for vegetables and meat. A single silver soul coin isn't enough to cover my spending. The currency system of the Daluo continent is quite simple. 1,000 copper soul coins equal 1 silver soul coin. 10 silver soul coins equal 1 gold soul coin. I've been scrimping and saving for these past few years, selling grain and eggs, only to scrape together 13 silver soul coins and a few hundred copper soul coins. At this rate of consumption, let alone the cost of schooling, I'll be penniless in less than half a year. Perhaps I should just join a faction after all. I muttered to myself, yet my mind remained crystal clear. Unless I'm backed into a corner, I would never do such a thing. As long as I successfully become a spirit master, my troubles will be eased. Spirit masters receive a monthly subsidy of 1 gold spirit coin. I never realized the value of gold spirit coins before, but now I understand. To commoners, that is a massive fortune. Gold spirit coins are the currency of the spirit master world. Ordinary folk mostly use copper spirit coins in their daily lives. The two are worlds apart. But a new worrying began to emerge. Could it be that my appetite rose alongside my spirit power? I touched my still flat stomach, feeling a bit troubled inside. I had stuffed so much inside, yet my belly didn't bulge in the slightest. It was truly bizarre. Forget it, I'll worry about that later. Cultivation comes first. I shook my head. With a quick trot and a leap, I hopped onto the bed. I sat cross-legged, closing my eyes into position. I attempted to meditate using the method Su Yuntao had taught me. However, I had barely begun one. My head began to nod uncontrollably. Finally, with a soft thud, I completely keeled over. I had actually fallen fast asleep, yet I was unaware that the true metamorphosis has only just begun. Threads of delicate golden patterns emerged from the center of my brow. Like living entities, they slowly spread throughout my limbs and bones, until they finally covered my entire body. My body shifted involuntarily from a seated posture to lying flat. My body temperature began to rise steadily. A faint crimson flush suffused my skin. The flow of my blood surged several times faster than usual, as if some profound evolution was unfolding within me. By all accounts, such a transformation should inevitably be accompanied by heart-wrenching agony. But I was sleeping so soundly, with a faint smile lingering on my lips. In my dream, I found myself in an eerily surreal, pure white void. There was no sky, no earth, and no point of reference whatsoever. Only an endless expanse of white. At the heart of this white void, a youth of my own age floated in silence. His eyes opened slightly, revealing a face of delicate and handsome features. Like a jade statue carved with exquisite precision. Yet his gaze was vacant, devoid of even a flicker of light. As I looked upon the scene before me, I found myself surprisingly calm. Since I had already transmigrated, encountering anything else strange seemed quite easy to accept. Based on my years of experience reading web novels, this is most likely my golden cheat. And that floating youth, he is probably the manifestation of that cheat. But why does this guy look so familiar? I frowned and scrutinized him, my heart filled with confusion. I am certain I have never met him before. Yet that inexplicable sense of familiarity just won't fade away. I spoke up tentatively. The young man remained motionless, unfazed. He didn't even bat an eyelid. Fine, I suppose I was overthinking it. I was left speechless. I observed his features more closely once again. Suddenly, a few keywords flashed through my mind. Blue silver gross, innate soul power of level 3. The sudden, insatiable appetite after his awakening. The golden patterns that appeared while he slept. A name suddenly surfaced in my thoughts. Tang Wulin. I enunciated the name syllable by syllable. My eyes were filled with shock and uncertainty, as if his true name had been awakened. A strange and marvelous resonance erupted instantly. The youth's body suddenly flared with a dazzling light, the golden radiance illuminating the entire pure white world. Immediately after, he surged toward me like an arrow released from its bow. I felt a powerful force slam into my mind, as countless fragments of information flooded in frantically. The agonizing pain nearly tearing my consciousness apart. I didn't even have time to scream. My entire being was instantly plunged into darkness, so it wasn't because I was sleeping too soundly that I didn't wake up from the bodily mutation, but rather that this sudden, excruciating pain had knocked me unconscious. At this moment, the golden patterns on my skin grew increasingly vivid. And while my internal spirit power remained at rank 3, it had become far more refined and condensed, circulating at a much faster pace. And my gluttonous appetite, like that of a touty, has finally revealed its true origin. The soul fragments of Tang Wulin are merging with my body. The transformation of the Dragon King's bloodline has begun.